Rights of freedom is dead. We are coming to get our check.
Welcome, my brothers and my sisters. We're going to talk about the election results. We're going to talk about something that I predicted, okay? I called this from the very jump, okay? Initially, I said, Jasmine thinks she's running for Senate. She's not going to make it. I knew why she's not going to make it. Now, they're out there trying to spin this story, tell a different version of the story, a different reason. And I knew they were going to come up with reasons as to why. So now everybody's talking about reasons as to why, as I predicted that they would. The reason is because Jasmine believed too hard in the Democrat Party and not in the grassroots, okay? That's the reason. We're going to break down exactly what that is. So I got some graphics here that, I had made. That's made graphics. Shout out to everybody in here. If y'all can hit that like, I greatly appreciate that. But let's get started, right? So this is, I'm going to say this right here, this first graphic, this is the graphic of the official results right here. And as you can see, Jasmine heavily won really in the Dallas area, because that's her constituent. That's where she is at, and her competitor, James Tellerico, like a white Hispanic. I mean, Tellerico sounds like a Hispanic name to me. So her competitor beat her. Okay. Not by much, but he beat her. And it was pretty steady. Now, on For the Culture, we had a podcast last night. We had an episode last night, and we were talking about, is Jasmine for Black people? I was looking up the results all last night. I was checking in, looking at the results all last night. There was something that happened where the Republicans had some, and to sum it all up, I don't want to butcher it or anything like that. The Republicans got involved in the election rules, to where there was polls that were supposed to, where you can vote. You can pretty much vote at any place for who you wanted to. Now they switched that up to where you can only vote for a candidate in your precinct. So you got to go to your precinct to vote. All right. This caused a lot of confusion. All right. So because of this confusion, there needed to be an extension to the ballot. There needs to be an extension when it comes to the time. A lot of people didn't know there were some precincts that closed at 7, some places that closed at 9, and Jasmine and her team had an extension from a judge. And then the Republicans went to the Supreme Court and got that extension cut. Because that extension was cut, there were some people who were not able to vote. This is the reason she is saying that she lost. Okay, this is the reason. A lot of that is saying that because they pretty much finessed her, which to a degree is true. To a degree is true. Now we're going to get into the bigger reason, okay? Because even if they didn't make that play, if they didn't, she still would have lost. And I called this before I even knew this play was going to happen. I called this before. It was a close race. I'll give it to her. But we're going to break down exactly why. She could have won. This was a very winnable race for her, but she didn't. We're going to talk about why. Let me show you. She's talking about how in the race right here, pull this up. She's talking about the race right here. Why is this not pulled up the way it's supposed to be pulled up? Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Okay. All right. Right here. This is where she's talking about how pretty much she was cheated out the race.
So that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results tonight, in my opinion, based upon what specifically is taking place in Dallas County. Unfortunately, this is what Republicans like to do. And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why. So I want you to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea of when we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow. So I love y'all too. Thank you so very much for being here.
All right. Yeah, and she conceded. She conceded earlier. She's out there saying that, they pretty much cheated her. There was a finesse and all of that. She encouraged people. She really did want people to come out and vote. She encouraged people to still, stick it out and go to the polls and all that. Let me show you that. I want to show you all of the evidence before we really break down and analyze what I predicted, because I called it.
We encourage each and every one of you to remain resilient. We cannot allow this type of behavior to be rewarded, because so long as they know that they can win, even if it means cheating, then they will continue to do it. So I am asking you, I am begging you to make sure that you go ahead and figure out where it is that you are supposed to vote, stand in line, wait in line. All Red has already stated. We encourage each and every one of you.
Okay. So there was some issues on election day, right? And this is something that the Republicans are known for. Here's the thing. I'm not a Republican, so I'm not going to sit up there and act like the Republicans are flawless. The Republicans are known for doing election interference, making it more difficult for certain demographics to vote. This is one of the main reasons why, historically speaking, Black people tend to vote early. So when there's high early turnout for voting, that goes really well for the Democrats, and that goes really well for Black vote. If you guys have seen on the For the Culture thing, I said, hey, I'm looking at the turnout, and the early voting turnout was not that high, which was a bad sign for her, because most of her demographic, most of the people who voted for her were Black. Okay. She pretty much got an overwhelming amount of the Black vote. Okay. Not high enough, but most of the people who turned out to vote at all voted for her. Same with Kamala Harris. Most of the Black people who turned out to vote, period, voted for her. However, the turnout wasn't high enough. And it's the same thing with Jasmine. The turnout wasn't high enough. And I was saying this before. I'm all like, yep, a lot of that is going to depend on early voting. Now, we have to be fair. When it comes to, primaries, turnout in general among white, Black, Hispanic, all that stuff is relatively low compared to presidential elections or general elections. You're going to see a lot higher turnout in the primaries later this year than you will see in the general elections, later this year than you will see in a primary. However, like I said before, this was a very, very winnable race. She could have won this race. I did some studying and I did some, graphic stuff and all that stuff. And I wanted to show you this. Now, these were the amount of eligible Black voters. Let's say the numbers may be off a little bit. Let's say that for the sake of the argument, because some people are like, how do you know that's true? For the sake of the argument, there are in Texas, all right, Black voters, there are 2.3 million Black voters. Now, who voted in the primary, let's say on the high end, it was 500,000. Okay, 500,000 of the 2.3. That means 1.8 didn't vote. Okay. So about 20% of the eligible Black voters in Texas voted, and about 80 didn't. Okay, about 80 did not vote. And this is what I was saying before. Okay, like I said, it was winnable. It was winnable. She could have won this if she got a higher Black turnout. Now, we got to get to why the Black turnout was not high. I get, okay, even if you want to say there was, voter interference and it discouraged voters and all that stuff. And then there was some weird thing where it's all like votes after 7 don't count and all that. Even if you want to say that, let's give her, even if you want to say that's the case. And let's take that up. And if you want to give her, because it's not going to be 50%, let's say you give her another 100,000 or 200,000. she still had an overwhelming amount of black voters not turn out. There was a large percentage of black voters that did not turn out for her. All right. And this is what we were saying. Now, that is the real reason. Okay. Not the, voter interference and all that stuff. That is the real reason. Why didn't they turn out? They didn't turn out because she has shown that her allegiance and her stance are for illegal immigrants over the black community. Okay. Let me show you. Let's do some reviewing of exactly why black people did not turn out. We're gonna get deep. Okay.
The colleague on the other side of the aisle decided to attack Democrats and pretend as if we do not look out for women. And I want to be clear that it's Democrats that were pushing for the equal rights.
No,
I was going to make is while this amendment has to do with civil rights, for whatever reason, the colleague on the other side of the aisle decided to attack Democrats and pretend as if we do not look out for women. And I want to be clear that it's Democrats that were pushing for the Equal Rights Amendment. And I don't recall any Republicans supporting us having the Equal Rights Amendment. I also want to make it clear that just because someone fantasizes or wants to be dramatic about the idea of someone could be a quote unquote man in a locker room or in a bathroom, I've yet to hear an actual testimony of someone who, for whatever reason, has experienced this in real time. But I can tell you some real numbers and some real facts, because I don't like to live in fantasy when I'm talking about.
Let's just break that down, because that's another thing. That's another big issue. Don't know why she is so hell-bent on dying on that hill, especially in Texas. The whole males and female sports thing is a losing cause. There is nobody who won an election backing that up. Nobody wins an election backing that up. Nobody. Okay? It doesn't even go over that well when it comes to the left. I don't know. That's insane. That's insane. What do they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Don't know why they continue to back that play up. Okay? But that's the party agenda. So that's her agenda. Her demographic in Texas do not support that. It's very important that we note that. Okay, because some people are going to say, well, when it comes to black things, you have to understand that black reparations are not really popular among other demographics. So she has to be very hush hush, and she can't really say anything, and she can't really be boisterous about a black policy because it's unpopular. That is unpopular. The whole males and female sports, that is unpopular among all demographics, okay? That's unpopular among all racial and ethnic demographics. That's unpopular among all age demographics, despite what people tell you is not just the older people. Younger people don't appreciate that either, because that's the younger females who are competing in the sports who have to deal with that. So it's in age demographics, nobody backs that up. When it comes to male and female, that there's a general consensus on they don't support that. So generally, that is not supported among anybody, but yet she's still advocating for it and backing that up. She's still doing that, but okay, let's let her continue.
How I'm going to govern for the American people. The facts are, in my state alone, in the state of Texas, once they decided that they were going to overturn the Roe decision, 26,000 women then ended up raped. 26,000 is what we had reported. And that was only within about a year's time span. And when they reported those rapes, none of them seemed to have anything to do with trans folk. And I don't recall any legislation to help out those women in Texas and beyond that are actually dying. We're not projecting may die, but are actually dying or have died in southern states that have decided that they wanted to go after our reproductive freedom. So as a woman in this country, as a Texan, and as a Black woman who, when we look at the numbers, and I believe in data and science, and I know that that escapes a lot of people in this chamber, but the numbers are clear that specifically Black women have always struggled when it came down to the maternal mortality rates in general. The fact that somebody who looks like me, no matter how much money they have, because I
want you to remember her saying this because I'm going to make a point later on. So just take a mental note, okay? Write this in your head. Take a mental note of what she's saying because this is going to be relevant later on.
I can remind you of a very wealthy tennis star that almost lost her life while trying to give birth. Some things I honestly just don't think should be partisan. And frankly, I do believe in privacy because honestly, I don't want none of y'all making decisions if I ever end up pregnant and have to decide what it takes for me to save my life. And I give the same opportunity for other women in this country to make decisions as they see fit. So while we whether or not they could survive.
Now, that was the whole thing about the trans thing. She makes that a very big issue. She makes that a very, very big issue. But the biggest issue, she doesn't make anything a bigger issue than when it comes to backing up illegal immigrants. That is what she's known for the absolute most, backing up illegal immigrants.
Running the most openly racist. Donald Trump is running the most openly racist immigration regime in modern American history. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Donald Trump's mass deportation system makes me think of what a modern day slave patrol would look like. Slave patrols were armed groups empowered by the government to control, intimidate, and terrorize people solely based on color. That's what's happening now. Donald Trump is sending mass agents without warrants into communities of color to terrorize the people who live there. And the reason that I want to make sure that I draw out this link, because we heard Maxine say that Black and brown is coming together. I want to be clear about this. This should not just be the immigrant community. This should be all of us united, because we know united we stand, divided we fall. And unfortunately, this last election, we allowed ourselves to be divided. Now, Ms. Velez, it's my understanding that you were detained by federal agents while you were on your way to work. Is that correct? Did any of these agents present you with a warrant?
No.
An explanation?
No.
Did they?
Just want you to know, just keep all of this stuff. Do mental notes of all of this stuff. All of this you hear right now, these mental notes you hear right now, this is her pandering to the Hispanic vote. As we can see, all of this trying to compare ICE to slave patrol and trying to compare deportations to slavery, all of that stuff, that didn't really gain you the Hispanic vote that you needed to win the election. All of this pandering, this is the mistake she made, the vital mistake she made. I called it. We all knew it. Nobody's surprised. We called it because we said, you need to focus on the Black vote. You need to focus on that. You are not going to get the Hispanic vote. There is no Black and brown coalition. We keep trying to make that clear to everybody. There's no Black and brown coalition. They're not going to pick Jasmine Crockett over James Tellerico. So you need to focus on who you need to focus on, and that's getting the Black turnout. That's what you needed. The race, she didn't lose the race by that much, about 3%. She could have won. It was a winnable race if she would have focused on the demographic who she needed to focus on. But all of this pandering and all that, you don't see her doing this when it comes to Black people at all. At all. But this pandering to the Hispanic vote, okay. And what happened? They voted for the white man.
Do anything other than illegally detain and arrest you?
Yeah.
Did they even identify themselves?
No, they did not.
Okay. Donald Trump has created an environment where these agents believe they are above the law. And one of the things that the ranking member just said was that there's a level of dehumanization. It is in that dehumanization, whether we are talking about the language they use to describe human beings, or whether we talk about the fact that they don't feel as if certain people are entitled to their constitutional rights. That is why Ms. Velez, unfortunately, was denied her constitutional rights, which we know she was supposed to enjoy in, just like those in our immigrant community. But this isn't just that this is the most openly racist immigration regime in modern day history. It is also the most violent and deadly immigration regime in decades. More people have died this year in ISIS custody than in any year since the early 2000s, and the year is not over. Ms. Kozlowski, talk to me about the disturbing reports of unsanitary and inhumane conditions, which are partly responsible for the increase in deaths at the federal detention facilities.
Now, when it comes to Black people that we know, that, I mean, there's all statistics, there's really no refuting this, that Black people are disproportionately targeted and falsely incarcerated, because we make up overwhelming most of the exoneration rates, okay? Most of them, okay? So we're disproportionately targeted, not just by the police, but by the judges, by the persecutors, by the just, quote unquote, justice system. You don't see her sitting up there doing this when it comes to Black people who are falsely incarcerated. As a matter of fact, I mean, she does back all of the people. She backs Joe Biden and Kamala, all of the people who historically have locked Black people up, okay? She backs them up 100%. Now, they didn't really endorse her like that. Not really, because the Democratic Party didn't want her there. She's good for views and clicks and stuff like that, and to talk crap about Donald Trump, but they didn't want her in no higher position. They didn't want her in no higher position like that. They didn't back her up like that, okay? They liked her, dissing Trump and all of that stuff. And that's the white liberals like, oh, you get him. Oh my God, you're so furious and strong and independent, and I love you. Yeah, okay. But they didn't really back her like that. They liked this stuff. When she was doing stuff like this, they loved this. They were eating this up, and everybody was like, oh, you go get him, go get him.
Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes, he is. But in a functioning democracy, he still would not be able to get away with this. But he's been able to get away with this because the House Republicans are complicit. He's been able to get away with this because Senate Republicans are complicit. But most importantly, the courts, especially the Supreme Court, is complicit. And so I think one of the places that we have to start is we are absolutely, they are the highest court in the land, and they have no ethics guardrails. Now you go down to the lower courts and they do. How much sense does that make? When we know that they're taking money, we have the paper trail, and
now people are like, you know what, that's passion though. People will make the argument that that's passion. And I'm telling you right now, I knew this was going to happen, because all of the passion, when she names a specific group, it's illegal immigrants, okay? When she's talking about Black people, it's people of color. When she's talking about immigrants, it's immigrants, okay? So Black people get the people of color thing. And really, when it comes to people of color, there's a hierarchy in that, and you put Hispanics over Black people with the people of color, but you say people of color so you can kind of include Black people in for your narrative. That's the only time you use it. They use it for, they strategically try to use people of color. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't really work that well. It doesn't work that well at this point at all. Okay, but all of this people of color stuff, and we tried to keep telling the DNC we don't appreciate that, but they kept doing it.
I want people to see him and understand who he is. This is a person that has a problem with people of color, period. I don't care how many Black MAGA out there with their hats. I want to be clear, when we look at who it is that he's kicking out of this country is people of color. When we look at who...
Do you see that? Do you see that? Notice she says Black MAGA, all of this stuff. But when you see the people he's kicking out of the country, it's people of color. He's not kicking foundational Black Americans out the country. Foundational Black Americans are not being deported at all. It's Hispanics illegally who are here illegally. Those are the people who are being kicked out the country. So why are you even mentioning black people?
With people of color, period. I don't care how many black MAGA out there with their hats. I want to be clear, when we look at who it is that he's kicking out of this country is people of color. When we look at who he always disrespects and says that they are low IQ, even though when you look at his cabinet, this has to be the most incompetent cabinet we have ever had in the history of this country. When we're talking about people that literally have the ability to drop bombs or order that bombs be dropped or make recommendations that bombs be dropped, and they literally don't know how to get the signal chat right. So we're talking about low IQ individuals, but so long as they say that this guy is their guy, and usually if they work for a certain news network, that's the only qualification that's necessary. I've got news for the president. I am not going anywhere. No matter how many squiggly lines they draw in the state of Texas, I will be back and I will be on his behind and making sure the real accountability that the American people are demanding, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, or independents, that it is had when the Democrats take control of this House in the midterms.
Congressman.
Okay, all right, all that people of color stuff and all that. Do you all remember the conversation that she had as far as black people, or as far as, quote unquote, black women when it comes to mortality rates and all that, which they only make that, they only make that argument when they're advocating for abortion. That's the only time they make that argument. When it comes to black women who actually want to have the baby and give birth and everything like that, the Democrats are not there to support that. They only use tragedy. They use the tragedy of black women to support their narrative for abortion, not for maternal health, not for getting rid of racist hospitals or higher access to resources and all of this stuff. But it's not for that, okay? And they only use that in this performative. But when it comes to resources, they deny that. They deny resources across the board. Remember, there was a narrative that went around of like last year that Trump and Elon Musk were going to use the extra money that they had from Doge that they were going to collect from the Democrats overspending, and they were going to give a stimulus check to the American people. All right. It was about to be like, what, $5,000 allegedly. Now, of course, this was just speculation. This was just something that was floating around, but Jasmine was on the front lines to shut that down.
Giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID that was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us, because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once in a lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime, because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you if you are unable to find a job, because I am telling people we are headed towards a recession because the United States government is the 15th largest employer in the world. And so firing those that work for the federal government isn't going to necessarily create new jobs in private industry.
All right. You see that? Okay, she was against that whole idea. She was against that whole idea of giving out checks and giving out money. That rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. We're just doing a review of her career. We're doing a review, and we're seeing, this is why she didn't have black people turning out. I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Now, when the narrative of immigration first started, and they were deporting people. She was on the front line saying that America is going to starve because they need the illegals to pick the fruits and all of that stuff, and how if they don't do it, we won't have anything, we won't be able to eat, and we won't be able to survive pretty much at all. That's what they were saying. All right. As we can see, that didn't happen. We can clearly tell that didn't happen. However, this was the narrative that she was pushing, and a lot of people pushed back against that. It's coming up. All right, hold on.
About my trans kids. Then I would talk about.
Okay, there she goes again with the trans thing. She does that a lot for whatever reason. Now, that's unpopular. I don't want nobody to come up and say, well, you guys got to understand that reparations is just so unpopular. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Okay? Because reparations is actually very popular among Black people. Trans kids and sports and all of that stuff, that's popular among nobody. That is popular among nobody. That will turn you off, turn people off immediately. But yeah, she don't stop. She don't stop that. So I don't want to hear, well, you know, she had to cater because there's a large Hispanic population. I don't want to hear that. Because Hispanics don't back this up, but she still does.
About my trans kids. Then I would talk about the immigrants, right? And I'd be like, you know, he say they gonna take the Black jobs. And then I'd say, now, how many of you are raising?
Now, this is one of the things that really, really offended a lot of Black people.
Kids to go and work on the farms. Just, I'd be like, no. Don't do it at the same time. Please tell me, how many of you are sending your kids to college to go and work on the... Okay, well, guess who is working the farms? So that you can afford your food.
So that you can have food.
So that you can have food, right? And I'd say the same thing about, now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? How many of you are planning to send your kids to college? Because that's what we do here. We send everybody to college. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can then go and build these houses? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do. It's just the reality.
I'm going to pause it right here. I'm going to break this down. This is one of the reasons why I said she was going to lose. Okay, think about this. Think about this. You're in Texas, in Dallas, Texas. All right. I'm not super sure how many farmers are in that area. But okay, but that is the South. Okay. And you have a lot of people who would feel offended by the whole, man, y'all now, how many of y'all going to college to work on a farm? The way you said it is condescending. And to a lot of farm workers, Black farm workers, that would come off as, okay, what are you trying to say about us? Are you trying to say farms aren't a good job and that's not a worthy job, or we're too lazy? Or Black people who do work in hospitality, they make it seem like all of hospitality is Hispanic, and that's not the truth. Okay, there are Black people who work in hospitality, and they're like, okay, what are you trying to say about our positions? That because we don't want to go to college, that means our jobs are just like not worthy or low tier or something like that. A lot of people took it that way, on top of the fact that a lot of people who want to work on farms or not, who want to work in hospitality or not, they looked at it like, you know, why should we be locked out of that market? Why are we, as Black Americans, why are we being pushed out of the agricultural market? That whole job market, which is a huge, big market, very profitable if it's done right, we're being completely replaced and pushed out of that market. And we have the politicians sitting up there telling us we don't even want it anyway. That's what bothered a lot of Black folk. It bothered a lot of people, especially in Texas with a whole bunch of mass illegal immigration. And you have the Democratic Party prioritizing them, giving them more resources, giving them more opportunities, siphoning off of our established resources and giving it to them, and then telling us, well, they need it more than we need it anyway. I mean, y'all don't even want to really work these jobs anyway. Y'all don't really want to build a house. What are you talking about? So I want you to understand, it's not just farm work. It's farm work, it's hospitality, it's construction, it's working in a factory. All of these things Black people don't want to do. Says who? Who says that? Who says that you should pretty much force us and lock the market down with Hispanics because we, quote unquote, don't want to do that? Who are you to make that decision? But she's not doing this for Black people. She's doing this because she understands that there was a narrative stemming from the grassroots that Hispanics are illegally taking over the job market. Okay. That's what we were saying. We were counting up all of the numbers. We were doing all of the research and data. And we were saying that, you know what? These Hispanics are being illegally hired to do slave labor, and they're bombarding the job market and making it harder for everybody else. Okay. They're making it a lot harder for everybody else. All right. And she's coming out there to defend them. This is her defense of them because she doesn't like the Black people. Because at first, like some years ago, it was only white folk who were really saying the whole, they're taking our jobs. Now, Black people started to really count the numbers and analyze and say, you know what, actually, we are losing job opportunities because of all of this illegal labor. So what's going on? And she's trying to gaslight. This is gaslighting. She's trying to gaslight to protect illegal immigrants. As you can see, it didn't really work out for her that well. I knew it wouldn't, but it didn't work out for her that well. All right.
And the beauty of the people that are coming here is that they don't have these opportunities at economic wealth at all. And one of the most beautiful stories, I'm not going to reveal his name, but it exists down in South Texas. This man got...
Now, she's about to go on, and I want you to listen to this. Her demographic, her constituency is mostly Black. Yet you don't hear her talking about these beautiful Black stories. A story of a Black family coming together and starting a business and all of this. She doesn't talk about Black people this way. She's about to go on about this quote unquote beautiful story about this Hispanic family that quote unquote got it out the mud. She's about to go off on that. Pandering to the Hispanics, pandering to the illegals. Now, it was the Black vote she needed, but she's not trying to address the Black vote. She actually was talking very condescending towards the Black vote, okay? And very dismissive towards the Black vote. When Black people said, hey, you know, I feel like in a next few years or so, my children are not going to be able to work pretty much anywhere because they're pretty much colonizing the whole job market and locking us out. And she's going to be condescending and gaslight Black voters and talk about the glory of Hispanic voters coming together, or Hispanic people coming together and getting it out the mud in America.
So much money is ridiculous. I don't know how much money he got. He got a lot of money. But he came over here as a child and worked the farms with his father. And he now owns the vast majority of South Texas, as far as I'm concerned. But he worked hard and he worked up, and it was an opportunity that only existed here. And so we provide these opportunities, but even for people that are like, I just want to take care of my family. I don't know how long the dollar is going to be strong, but typically the dollar is strong. And so people will come over here, they will work hard, they will earn an honest living, and they will send that money home. And it's money that y'all won't work for. But that money
is money that y'all won't work for. We built this whole country from start to from every aspect of this country. This is the thing, like I keep saying, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna beat this horse till it's dead. Keep saying it. Why she lost? No wonder. I'm looking at this like, do you think you're gonna win the Senate talking like this? Who do you think you're talking to? If she was Hispanic, then maybe she could have won. But no, you're not Hispanic. You're not. Who are you talking to? That's money. That's stuff we won't work for. That's the whole narrative that Hispanics are harder working. She's pushing this narrative. She's not saying it, but she's pushing this narrative. This narrative coincides with Hispanics are willing to work harder. Hispanics are willing to do more. Hispanics are willing to go the extra mile to provide for their family and to make it out of nothing. Now, black people, y'all not. That's money y'all aren't willing to work for. Who are you talking to? And you think you're going to get the black vote. This is why black people didn't turn out for this right here. This clip alone is really more than enough. But we got more. This clip alone.
They go so far, and it's literally saving their families back at home. And so I'd say stop demonizing people that these are the people that are really making us great in this country. And so I would have these conversations, but when you're doing the clickbait and they're saying, oh, they're giving them everything that we don't have and all this kind of stuff, and they're not talking about the fact that undocumented folk contribute billions in tax. I think it was $100 billion in tax revenue that we got. They pay into taxes. And guess what? They're not able to pull down on Social Security. So when you're talking about Social, like there's so much that they give. And they're happy about it because they know that these are opportunities they didn't have where they came from.
Okay, all right. All of that, they're happy about it, and they came out the mud. Now, all of that coming out the mud and getting it out the mud and all of that stuff, she knows that's not true. She knows for a fact that that's not true. But yet she continues to peddle this lie in this narrative. Now, when she got a lot of pushback for that, she somewhat repeated it, but she tried to make a joke about it. She tried to make some type of joke about it, but she repeated the same narrative, if you remember.
Perfectly honest, as somebody who practiced criminal defense work, I can go into a jail cell and holler at somebody and meet them on their level, or I can go to a C-suite. Pretty universal in kind of where all I can go. And I'm gonna be real and tell you that I walked into some barbershops and I talked to some brothers, and I specifically remember being in Philly one time. I walked into this barbershop and this barber had a cute little daughter running around, and I said, you planning on voting? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, so what you thinking? He was like, well, I don't know just yet. I think I'm going to vote for her. I'm like, okay, well, what's the problem?
Now, this was during Harris's campaign, just remember.
He said, well, the trans people, they the problem. Now here's the reality, church. I hear some of y'all moaning and groaning. I know Black church, y'all. I know how we are, okay? And you ain't got to admit it, okay? Because I know. So you don't have to admit it. But literally, and even if we take it out of church, when we talk about Black culture, I'm going to be real with you and tell you that Black culture has never really been one that has embraced the LGBTQIA community. This is just a reality. I ain't looking for agreement or disagreement. I'm telling y'all, I know the facts.
Let me ask y'all a question. She's in a Black church while she's doing this. I need to ask you guys a very serious question. Do you think that she would go to a Hispanic church, a church full of Latinos, and tell the Latino church that they need to be more accepting of trans people? Do you think she would do that? Do you think she would go to a white church or any other church and tell them how they are not accepting enough to the LGBT? Now, if we're going to be very honest, when it comes to churches in general, now that does go for pretty much against really every religion or whatever the case. But if you want to go to churches in general, Black churches are the most tolerant and are the most accepting of the LGBT. We're the most, you will see somebody who everybody kind of knows, you a little sweet, but we ain't gonna say nothing. We're just gonna keep up, mind our business. That don't happen in nobody else's church. You don't see that going on in nobody else's church. If anything, Black churches are the most tolerant of that. But you coming there with this condescending, yeah, we got to do better. We're not welcome enough to the LGBT and all of that stuff in Texas, in the South, at a black church. What do you think the church folk gonna say when you leave? Because they talk. Church folk talk after you leave. They're gonna have a whole secret meeting and everything like that. They're gonna be on the phone all night long, being all like, yeah, I don't know about this. You might have had some people before you came in and left with less, talking like that. And here's the crazy thing about it, is that talking like this would turn people off, which is why you wouldn't do that with the Hispanic church. Even when you're talking, she said she went to Philly, and she said the father brought up, he has a concern about trans kids in sports, because he doesn't want his daughter beat by a boy. I think that's a fair concern. Personally, if I had a daughter and my daughter was running track or playing basketball or doing something physical, I wouldn't want her to lose a championship because a boy beat her. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't think that's fair. I think that's a legitimate concern. And yet what she did is she gaslighted him and been like, oh, y'all with the trans kids, here, y'all go with that. You gaslighting somebody with their concern. You think if she went to a Hispanic father and the Hispanic father said the same thing, voiced the same concern, you think she would have gaslit the Hispanic dad? If she went to a Caucasian dad and he said the same thing, and they the loudest about that, he said the same thing, you think she would have been like, oh, here y'all go with the train? She wouldn't have said that. But when it comes to black people with our concerns, I want you to see the pattern of her dismissing our concerns. I want you to see the pattern of her mocking what we have to say. I want you to see the pattern of her saying that we need to kind of settle down, and putting all of these other communities, whether that's the LGBT community, whether that's the illegal immigrant community, all of these other communities take priority over us. I want y'all to see that pattern here. She's in a church doing this. You would think that even if you did want to advocate for them, the church is probably not the smartest place to do that. You really think that, especially considering her father is a pastor. You'd really think that, but okay, not her. Not her.
And so I had to talk to this brother, and I said, okay. I was like, nah, what you talking about? And so he proceeded to tell me about one of these ads that was running over and over and over, and it was something with her and trans people. And I said, do you know that he was paying for the trans people to get their operations in the prison? He said, what? I was like, now listen, now y'all know how I like to have my receipts. So Kendall was with me. So I said, just Google New York Times, Trump and trans, and you'll find the New York Times article that talked about what he actually was doing. And so then I explained it to him. I said, let me tell you something. I said, when people go to prison, they always are supposed to have access to their life-saving care, whatever that may be. So if for some reason there is a transition that was taking place, it must have been to the extent that it was life-saving at that point in time, because otherwise it could be considered cruel and unusual punishment. But the point is, you don't ever get...
No. That's not true. What they were talking about is that they're providing, quote unquote, and it's really males. To be honest, they're providing male trans, okay, and I just want you to understand, male trans people with testosterone blockers and things like that, and extra estrogen, because in the human body you do have a mix of extra estrogen and testosterone, right? However, males have an overwhelming amount of testosterone and females have very low, and a lot of estrogen, and then males have very low estrogen, all that stuff. So what needs to happen in the testosterone and all of that stuff, these are the things that provide men to be signed up. One of the things I will say that enable men to be scientifically, different and all that stuff. It grows facial hair and all of that stuff. So The testosterone blockers, these are the things that will prevent you from even growing facial hair. We can shave. As a grown man, you can shave all you want to. The hair will grow back because your body produces testosterone. If your body stops producing testosterone, the hair won't grow back. Okay. These are like the voice and all of that stuff. It's a lot of scientific things that make you more a lot like a female if you have lower testosterone and higher estrogen. And these are the things that some of the prisons were providing. All right. That's not no life-saving care. Okay. That's what he was talking about. That's not life-saving. Okay. That's not. But I just want you to be clear with that. Nobody said that these are life-saving surgeries that they needed. No, it's not.
No ads that are going to go that deep or anything like that. At the end of the day, I said, let me ask you this. You are raising this beautiful little girl. I'm assuming one day you want to own your own barbershop. He said, well, yeah. I said, so what does a trans person have to do with whether or not you got access to the capital that you need to provide for your daughter? So at that point in time, he looked at me like,
okay. That's not the point. That's not the point. I don't think he said that a trans kid or trans people were taking his barbershop away. That's not what he said. That was a complete deflection. What does that have to do with your barbershop? He was not talking about his barbershop. He's talking about his daughter. And he's talking about how he doesn't want his daughter to grow up in an unfair world where she has to physically compete against males. And she's trying to talk about, you need to mind your business. Essentially, you need to mind your business. That's essentially what she said.
Yeah, okay, you're right. The point is, I couldn't have enough of those conversations around the country. The point is that I'm trying to make is that they were allowed to divide us. They were allowed to play on people's emotions. And so they were allowed to get you riled up and distracted. And the reason that I bring it up is because that's what they did to win. And right now they are doing everything they can to do the exact same thing. They're getting you riled up emotionally. They are getting you distracted. When at the end of the day, they are hurting all of us. I'm sorry, but there is no excuse for going after Social Security. There is no excuse to go after Medicaid and Medicare. And for my teacher of the year, there is no excuse to go after the Department of Education. So let me be clear. They want y'all to sit here and get riled up and say, well, he didn't kept the kids from playing with each other. The trans kids, they can't play with the other kids. When have y'all ever looked to the president to figure out who's gonna play on the playground? Right? Or to have someone come at you and say things like, the immigrants are still in the black jobs. They're taking the black jobs. That's what they said. And the ones that wasn't taking the black jobs, you know what they were doing? They were killing. Oh yeah, they was eating the dogs. They was doing that too. They was eating the dogs. They was eating the cats. And then they bringing all the crime to your community as well. So all the rapes, all the robberies, all the thefts, all the gangs. That's who it is. It's the immigrants. It's a lie. Again, they were able to divide us. Because any black person that knows their history should know that at some point in time in history, they looked at us and they acted as if we were less than. They acted as if we were some kind of aliens. They acted as if we had a higher proclivity to commit crimes. They acted as if we were incapable of learning.
You know what? What's the most disrespectful part about that? about what she's saying is the fact that it's true. Is the fact that it's true. Is the fact that I would say it's not that they've acted as if that. They still act like that. They still act like that today. They still act like we're violent. They still act like we have low IQ. They still act like we need DEI and other handouts and all of that stuff. They still treat us racist. Yet you're at a black church talking about the grievances of other people. That's the disrespectful part. The disrespectful part is the fact that, yeah, we still go through all of those things. Every single thing she mentioned. We went through that, and we currently still go through that. Yet you're here talking about the issues of other groups of people. That's the part that gets me. That's the part that bothers a lot of people, because you're not going to go to the Hispanics and talk about black issues. You don't do that. You're not even going to go to like a Pride Parade or LGBT event or anything and talk about black issues. When you're at whatever other event or demographic or anything like that, when you're at other places, you talk about their specific issues that are specifically about their community, catered specifically towards their community. That's the only thing you discuss. Now, when you're in front of black people, you're talking about things about other people. That's what people don't like. That's what people can't stand. Nothing is ever about black people. Why are you sitting up there at a black church talking about somebody else's issues? You should be talking about, hey, black people, we need this, and black people need this, and black people need this, and this, and this. You went on this whole rant about some trans kids in sports, and then you're going to talk about, oh yeah, they telling you they going after the black jobs and all of this stuff and all that. What are you talking about? You need to be talking about their issues. Black people have been discriminated against. Black people have been talked down on. Black people deal with police brutality. Black people are denied access to capital. Black people need reparations. That's what you need to be talking about when you're in front of black people. I wouldn't even mind as much, a little bit, but as much, I wouldn't mind it if she was in front of a bunch of Hispanics talking like this. Well, I wouldn't mind it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you, but I would understand. I would understand that. If you were in front of a bunch of Hispanics talking like this, yeah, of course. If you were at a Pride Parade, I would understand this. Like, okay, well, yeah, you're going to talk about them because that's their community. Okay, I get it. But you take that and you bring that to black people. Black issues, even in front of black people, are not your priority. Other groups of people are always on the front of your mind, on the front of your advocacy, on the front of your issues. You're always front line for other people's issues, even in front of black people. And these are the people that turned out to vote for you, because Hispanics didn't. Now let me let her finish.
That's what they did to us. So who are we to sit and say that we're going to do that to somebody else? But if you don't know your history, you just may.
Who are we to say we're going to sit here and do something like that to anybody else? This is her saying that we need to be better to the Hispanic community. This is her going to black people and telling them how much better we need to be treating Hispanic people. She would never in a million years go to a Hispanic, especially as a Hispanic church. She would never in a million years go to a Hispanic church and tell Hispanic people how they need to be treating black people better, even though they really do, even though the racism is on their community towards us. They're the ones who are historically racist towards black people, and we all know that. But she would never do that. But she's going to come to us and she's going to say, well, we shouldn't do them like that. We should know better. We should know better. We shouldn't do them like that.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
Or the fact that we are what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants. Did she go around This sister girl, does she go around talking about what black people do for the country? Does she go around, quote unquote, educating about how important black people are to the country, or that we're a country founded by foundational black Americans, built by foundational black Americans? Does she go around the country doing that? Talking about black people invented this, and black people contributed to this, and black people built this, and black people helped this, and black people saved this. Does she do that? No. Yet she's making a whole damn tour to talk about how great illegal immigrants are. When she say immigrants, she's mainly talking about illegal immigrants.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
And the reason why she looked like that is because everybody kind of looked like, I don't know what are you talking about? Because you didn't hear no applause when she said that.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Okay. And that was her trying to tell the whole, we don't want to farm, so let the Hispanics do it, but say it in a joke, in a kind of pro-black joke. Oh, we done picking cotton. Okay, nobody's asking anybody to go pick cotton. There are hundreds of black farmers in this country currently right now who don't pick any cotton. Who ain't picked a cotton a day in their life. Ain't touched no cotton except the ones that they buy. They don't touch no cotton except when they pull their shirts out of their drawer. That's the only time they touch anything that's cotton. Okay? Maybe when they sitting on the couch and the pillow is made of cotton. That's the only time they touch it. There's a lot of black farmers who don't touch cotton. So all of that, we done picking cotton. Well, yeah, duh, but does that mean that we can't farm and have some chickens and all of that stuff? That's you don't have to. If you have farms and, horses and chickens and, all of that stuff, cows and stuff like that, you don't need to pick cotton for that. Okay. But I want you to see the attitude she has when it comes to black people. And that's not even the worst part, y'all. But let me get to the super chats before I get to it. Okay. Dakota's Jenkins, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I do. Thank you. He says, maybe she should have hosted a fish fry. Smart idea. A fish fry. And did a whip and a nay-nay on TikTok with black youth to galvanize the black Texas vote or tangibles. Maybe she should have stepped out with some grills on. I mean, she did the Kendrick Lamar thing. I couldn't play it because we don't have the copyright music thing. She should have stepped out with some grills on, with a big chain, a big gold chain and all that stuff. I'm talking about not even one big watch, a couple big watches on both wrists, just flexing. You know what I'm saying? And then started, dance, maybe, dancing. Maybe she should have had a Popeye's chicken wing or something like that and some Kool-Aid in the other hand. I don't know. Maybe. Let's not even give her no ideas, because she might actually look at this and see like, oh, maybe I needed to do that. Okay. You make a music video at Popeyes or something like that. Duck Whitefield, he says, oh, thank you very much for that. He says eggs were $125. A 2-bedroom apartment was $1,000 and gas was $197 before the quote others poured in. Now it's double. What did they make better exactly? I'll be honest. You can't tell that their presence here, and thank you for that. Thank you for that. Their presence here hasn't made anything better. It hasn't. There is absolutely nothing that is being done now because of them that was not being done before. Nothing. Them getting here, first off, it harms the country, but especially the black community. It does. All data, all statistics, all studies prove this. This is a proven fact. It's not an opinion. It's not a theory. It's a fact. And they want to dismiss it. They said, oh, if Trump gets rid of all of these illegals, who gonna pick the farms and everything, and we're gonna starve to death? Nobody starved to death. You ain't heard that. You can go to the grocery stores, you can still buy eggs, you can still buy fruits, you can still buy vegetables, you can still buy all that stuff. What do they do? And we had that stuff a few hundred years ago. We had that stuff 50 years ago. We had that stuff before. Before they started coming in here, we had that stuff. So what exactly are they providing that we need? Okay. And this leads me to the other super chat. And I appreciate y'all super chats. We still gonna get to it. Y'all please hit that like button too. Please, and thank you. Okay, David says she's capping. Immigrants benefit, and that's very true. He's gonna cook with this one. Immigrants benefit from programs like DACA, SNAP, TANF, or refugees medical assistance, refugees cash assistance, the Administration for Children and Family Office of Refugee Settlement. They do. All of them do. And this is the thing that bothers a lot of Black people when it comes to resources, that they try to gaslight and say, oh, well, you just don't want to work those jobs. Now, when it comes to government assistance like SNAP and WIC and all of this stuff, there are Black people who are eligible for that. They are all eligible for everything we get. But there are certain things that her and the rest of the Democrat Party have set aside specifically for them. There are things specifically for immigrants. There are no things specifically for foundational Black Americans, but there are things specifically for immigrants. There are things specifically for illegals. There are things specifically for asylum seekers. There's resources. There's assistance programs, job opportunities, school opportunities, medical assistance, all of that stuff specifically for them. We can't touch that. Not only that, they get that and get told that they just got it out the mud. Look at Jose and Javier, Maria. Look at them. They came over here with $5 and they just bought a house just out of nowhere. It's just crazy how they did that with no assistance at all. I don't know how they did that. That's crazy. Well, I mean, if they can do it, why can't y'all do it? Y'all just too lazy. They're willing to work so hard. They're willing to do things that y'all not willing to do. That's the only reason. It's not because we gave them a grant or anything like that. It's probably not. It's just because they work so hard. That's what they do. So not only are they siphoning off resources because they get to double dip, they get to take what we got and then take what they got. So they get their own set of resources for them, and then the resources we have, they get to take from that too. So they're double dipping. Okay. On top of that, they get to push the narrative that they don't have any resources. They get to push the narrative that all of the tangibles that they have come from hard work and grit and getting up early in the morning and putting your boots on and strapping them up and getting to work. And Black people, you know, if y'all don't have anything, I mean, it's just because y'all just lazy. Why do immigrants come over here and they just do so much better? And this finger wagging and gaslighting Black people, that's why she lost. That's why she lost. And I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. Okay. Let me get, he also says another one. David says another one. He says, right, Afro, talking to FBAs about other groups' problems while totally ignoring ours. The people who built this. Yeah. That's a slap in the face. It is. Like I said, I could understand it if she was in front of a bunch. I could almost understand it even though I don't think it would be acceptable. But I can almost understand it if she was in front of a mixed crowd of people. If it was like 50% Black, 50% Hispanic, if it was like 30% Black, 30% Hispanic, 30% white, I could almost understand that. But the fact that it's Black, period, across the board, and you're still talking about how hard Hispanics work and how much Hispanics need to be respected and how much we need to cater to them and how much better we need to be to them, and LGBT, how much better we need to be to them. That is incredibly disrespectful. Incredibly disrespectful. Let me get to this other one real quick. Cassius says, and the most disturbing part about this is that we still have far too many FBA family members voting for this nonsense. Unfortunately, we did. That is unfortunate. Jasmine Crockett, completely disrespectful. Yeah, we do. And they still, because they don't like Trump, and that's the reason they don't like Trump, and she don't like Trump. They're gonna back her up because they feel like she's gonna fight against Trump or something like that. Okay, James, I appreciate your super sticker. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, not only that, when she's talking to black people about Hispanics, when she's asked about reparations, this is her response. Her response is environmental justice.
So a couple of things. I'll talk specifically about the Black folk and the concern. I think what we're seeing is that you're seeing the federal government, the state governments, the local governments that are visibly pouring money into the migrant crisis. And so Black folk are like, well, wait a minute now y'all ain't gave us no reparations. Y'all always like messing us up. We can't get none, but people that weren't born here, not to mention Black folk was dragged over here, but that's a whole other issue. Like, we didn't immigrate, right? Like, they brought us over here, like they captured us, they killed us, they raped us. So like Black people, like, I don't know, make it make sense to me, right? And it's because they can actually see the money. The problem is that the United States government is consistently giving out money that is for the business.
Hold on. We're gonna run that back a little bit. Now, there were Black people here already. Okay, there were that. Okay, and we've already proved that, scientifically speaking. We've already proved that. There's already proof to that. But let's take that back a little bit. Okay. Let's take that back a little bit. There's not just the whole, they brought us here. I want you to notice a different thing.
Benefit of us, they killed us, they raped us. So like Black people, like, I don't know, make it make sense to me, right? And it's because they can actually see the money. I don't know, make it make sense to me, right? And it's because they can actually see the money. No, make it make sense to me, right? And it's because they can actually see the money.
It's because we can actually see the money. All of that talk about, well, they come over here and they just don't have any opportunities and they're just willing to do anything and they're willing to work so hard and all that stuff. No. It's because we actually see the money. We see what you guys are doing. Nobody is dumb. Nobody is stupid. We're not jealous. We're not hating as you're sitting up there trying to tell other people or Black people that we need to be more understanding to them and they're not taking any opportunities and they're just trying to provide for their families, because we can actually see the money. Exactly. You're not getting over on anybody. You guys are not fooling anybody. We see the money. This is why Black people are so upset, not just with you, but with the entire Democratic Party. We see the money. We see what you guys are doing. We see that you guys are giving out all of these resources and tangibles to a whole bunch of illegal Hispanics. We see that. And then you want to turn around and tell us y'all don't have any money. Y'all want to turn around and pat your pockets like, damn. The country is not in a good position right now and all that stuff. No, we see what you guys are doing, not just with money, with opportunities, with elevation and resources and all of that. We see that you're pandering to them. This is the thing that upsets Black people. Okay? Because we see it. And you acknowledge, and here's the thing, she's right here acknowledging our issue. She's acknowledging that we are not getting any reparations. We're not getting any tangibles. We're not getting specific legislation. And we see other people getting it. Not just the Hispanics. We see that with the Asians when it came to the whole Stop Asian Hate thing that they were pushing. We see other people getting what we have been saying we've needed, what we have been deserving of. We see other people getting it. And she's going to sit up there and try to excuse and justify that.
The problem is that the United States government is consistently giving out money that is for the benefit of Black folk specifically. So I know as a member of the House, I have handed down so many checks, millions of dollars to my district on environmental injustice issues, right? Because we typically live in the areas.
We get all of this stuff and we see the money, but she's talking about environmental justice issues. This is what we get. They get tangibles, opportunities, resources. They get schooling, medical assistance, all of that. And we get environmental justice.
Where our air, our water, our soil is contaminated because we have been a dumping ground for so long. And literally, we have homes that are killing us because when we walk outside, there's somebody that's polluting us. And so I am trying to do my part, but because you're not getting a check directly into your hand, or because it's not as well publicized, Black folk are like, we're not getting anything. And it's just not true.
No, we're not. Because that's what you're supposed to be doing for anybody in this country. Anybody in this country, there shouldn't be no lead in the water, period, point blank, period. So that's y'all doing y'all jobs. And you're sitting up there. Anytime, I want y'all to understand, anytime they do their job, if it benefits Black people, they'll make it seem like they disproportionately looked out for Black people. No, that's just your basic job. That's not you going above and beyond to look out for Black people. Oh, yeah, you know, that's specifically for Black people. No, it's not. No, it ain't. No, it's not. All of these, quote, millions and millions of dollars, y'all collectively giving them billions of dollars. And because it's not a check, yeah, I want a check. How about that? I want a check. I'll buy my own water filter. Just give me the check. Run me the money. I'll get my own water filter. I'll get my own air purifier. I'll get all of that stuff. You run me the check. I get a gas mask and all that stuff. Run me the check. How about that? Because you're not talking about other people getting environmental justice, whatever that means. Okay. And then she brings up the issues. What did you use the money for to purify that? What was that money for? How did you purify the air with the millions of dollars that you've given to your district? See, all of this is vague. What does that even mean? We got bad air. Okay, what did you do? Like, what does that mean?
That you're not getting anything, but also I think what we're not doing a good.
We're not getting anything. In this very same clip, she just acknowledged that we see the money, the tangible money that other groups of people are getting, and then telling us we need to be complacent with environmental justice, telling us that we need to sit up there and just be cool with getting clean air while they walking around with money in their bank accounts and money in their pocket, and we get to breathe clean air, even though they get to breathe clean air, but we finally get to breathe clean air, and we should be satisfied with that.
Thing about as far as like the conversation around it is we're not discussing that this is a matter of saving money, right? Like,
well, here she go with that saving money again. Okay. So when it comes to Black people, we got to save money. All right. Okay.
It can't be. So for instance, I just saw your head turn. So for instance, when we're trying to deal with whether or not we're going to send foreign aid out, Black people are like, why y'all sending money across the world? Y'all need to keep that money here. Not recognizing that our money and our dollar goes so much further somewhere else. If we were to send our money to Haiti or Honduras or anywhere, it would actually go so much further because the dollar is so strong. In addition to the fact that maybe we can stabilize those areas and keep those people from coming here, because by the time they come here, it is going to cost us more money. But even when we're
no, we're not. No. What are you talking? Do y'all see this? This is how she talks to Black people. We got to it goes further. So we got to stabilize those countries to prevent them from coming here. You clearly, your campaign is not about preventing anybody from coming here. Notice that her campaign is not about preventing anybody from coming over here. She don't care about nobody coming over here. She's not trying to stop anybody from coming over here. She's not. So what is she talking about here? And as black folk, we got to be okay with our money going overseas to stabilize somebody else's country when all we get is some quote unquote clean air. And you're not trying to stabilize the black community. You're not trying to repair the black community. You're not trying to put jobs in the black community. You're not trying to do that for the black American community that you're supposed to be a representative of. You're trying to do that for Haiti and what did she said Ghana or something like that, whatever other place she said. You're trying to do that for other people, for overseas.
Spending the money. What we need people to understand is that we've been on a birth decline for a minute in the United States. And so if we're going to keep this economy going, immigration actually helps us out. But it's
You just said that you don't want them coming over here. Family. She just said we need to stabilize these countries and that will prevent them from coming over here. And then in her following sentence, she talks about how America, quote unquote, which is really white America, America is at a birth decline and we need more of them to come over here. We need immigration. But her previous sentence, not even a statement, her previous sentence was talking about how she's trying to prevent them from coming over here. See all this double speak she's doing?
not a matter of these people coming over and laying up. We need to make sure that they're working and they're paying taxes.
Okay. Y'all see that? This is her response to reparations. And y'all wonder why she lost. I mean, come on. It's no wonder. It's no wonder why she lost. Okay. We're upset because we didn't get a check, but we got to understand we do get environmental justice. Whatever that really means, but we get environmental justice. And we got to understand that our money goes further overseas. So we just got to, I guess, be accepting of that. We got to accept the fact that our dollar goes overseas, okay, to stabilize other countries so they don't come over here. But when they come over here, they're going to be taking jobs. She's not trying to stabilize the black community. She's not trying to give reparations. She's against giving cash out, period. This is not her first time saying that. She's against that, clearly. She wants to stabilize them and then still have them come over here and take jobs, okay? And then when they come over here and take jobs, guess what she's going to say? Just guess. She's going to say, we didn't want those jobs anyway. When they come over here, no matter what they do, whatever job they decide to get, she's going to come over here and say, we didn't want those jobs anyway. We were unwilling to work those jobs. Whatever job they take, she's going to say, it's us. We didn't want to work those jobs anyway. That's what she's going to say. That's what she's going to say. All right. Oh, boy. But yeah, she lost. And, I mean, it was, quite obvious why she lost. Because all of this pandering to the Hispanics and pandering to other groups and all of that stuff, it wasn't working out for her. I knew for a fact it wasn't going to work out. Told you that. Now, you got some people, I don't know why. Lord, tell me. You got some people who are disappointed that the Hispanic vote didn't turn out for her. You got some people who are disappointed the Hispanic vote didn't turn out for her. Let me show y'all this. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Okay. All right.
Real quick. Just real quick. But this to my Latino brothers and sisters that follow me on here. I'm trying to get y'all to educate me on something. I'm being dead ass serious. I ain't even being funny. I'm trying to see kind of what y'all feel. I'm trying to let y'all educate me on it because I don't want to be viewing y'all the wrong way. So I'm trying to figure out, do y'all feel like y'all align more with black folk or do y'all feel like y'all align more with Caucasian? Like, And the reason I say that is because when I used to hear black and brown people, and I always thought we was like jointed to the hip. Like I always thought we was the black folk, you know, Latino, brown, you know. So I always thought we kind of shared some of the same struggles, same hardships, same, just, you know, we were similar. You know, I remember growing up, all my Latino buddies, they was on what I was on. But now that I look at it, it ain't as clear to me no more. And I'm trying to ask y'all, do y'all feel, Latino brothers and sisters, do y'all feel y'all are more in line with black folk? Or do y'all feel like y'all are now more aligned with Caucasians? You know, and I don't know if y'all feel like y'all more aligned with Caucasians or if y'all inspired to be more like them than y'all do black folk. Like, I don't know. I'm fine with it either way. I'm just trying to get clarity on it because it's not as clear to me now than it used to be. Like I used to think we was in the same fight. But now when I see things, you know, I remember the last election talking to Latino folk, and they, oh, no, he gonna, no, he gonna give us money, he gonna, you know. And I used to be like, God damn, like, that's the motherfucker want to get y'all out of here. And the only reason I'm asking, because I need to know who I'm defending. Like, I don't want to be defending no motherfucker who don't even fuck with me, for real. So I'm asking so I know who I should and shouldn't be defending. So if y'all can just help me understand y'all thought process and who y'all feel y'all align more with, because I've seen, you know, political candidates, you know, black person, white person, and y'all motherfuckers, y'all be over there. So I'm just trying to get clarity on that. If y'all can help educate me on this, I surely appreciate it. And it's love either way.
Boy, yeah, y'all see that? Plies. You need to deactivate you need to go off the grid for a good minute. The fact that you're sitting up there having this video asking Latinos, because her whole campaign was pandering to Latinos. Now, she did get a decent amount of voters. She did. Give credit where credit is due. If only she would have, and I'm not saying pandered, if she would have actually been a real advocate and representative and really did tangible things, even advocated for tangible things, she would have had a higher turnout of black votes. There would have been a higher early voting turnout. Okay. So that higher early voting turnout would have completely countered that little Republican thing that they pulled last minute. It would have, and she would have beat them. It was a winnable race. She didn't lose by that much, so it was winnable. But all of that pandering to the Latino vote, and then she didn't get it. She didn't get it. Kamala didn't get it. She didn't. Okay? And it was a lot of pandering to the Latino vote with Kamala. She didn't get it then. They voted for Donald J. Trump. What are you talking about this? I thought it was all this black and brown. I just want to know. Just tell me. No, what do you mean? You can't see? You don't know? We've been telling you ain't no black and brown. The Hispanic community does not see themselves as allies to the black community. They don't see themselves as partners. You did. You did. That's the thing with you. That's your problem. You don't want to accept reality. The reality is they don't. They don't see themselves as two peas in a pod when it comes to the black community. Clearly, we know this. We've known this from George Zimmerman, that they don't see themselves as two peas in a pod. You should know this. Every single election they prove, every single one, they prove the same thing over and over and over and over again. And yet you're talking about, I thought that we was all on the same page. Why? Why? Because they're not Caucasian? Because they're not Anglo-Saxon? You think they're on the same page as you? Why? Okay. I want y'all to understand it. And this is the pandering, because remember last election, he was bashing black folk. He was talking crazy about black folk. I want y'all to remember that. Let's just do a little reminder. Let's do a little reminder, because when it comes to Latinos who didn't turn out to vote, it's just, I'm cool with it either way. I just want to ask a question. I just want to get some information on you know, why exactly that didn't happen. I just want to get a little bit of information. I'm cool with it either way. I'm not going to be mad either way. But when it came to black people, remember, hold on. Oh, I missed. That's what it is. Okay. Remember, hold on. When it came to black people, it was boy, he was going in. He was going in. Remember
Real
this?
quick. But to everybody who, especially the ones who look like me, and the men who look like me, who quick to, if Kamala want my vote, she need to explain herself to me what she gonna do for the black people. Listen, stop asking the motherfucking black woman to explain themselves to you, or explain themselves to y'all. If y'all ain't willing to ask a motherfucking white man to explain himself, y'all cool with the white man not explaining himself. Oh, the motherfucking black, she need to explain herself to me what she gonna do for the black community. She want my vote. She need to explain herself. You ain't motherfucking asking the white man to explain his motherfucking self. You too motherfucking scared to ask him. And somebody need to explain something to y'all. Well, she been in the office already 3.5 years. Why she ain't do all the things she said she was gonna do? Cause she ain't the motherfucking president. That's why. When you go to the motherfucking McDonald's, that lady that's the motherfucking manager, she don't get to do what she want to do. She might can give you some motherfucking fries, but that's about it. Some free motherfucking fries. That's about all she can fucking do. But she can't change the price of that motherfucking quarter pound up there. Or that motherfucking Big Mike. That ain't that motherfucking lady White House. She just like the motherfucking man. You motherfucking fall in line. Now, if you can get some motherfucking free fries out every now and again, you get some motherfucking free fries out. But y'all motherfucking know this. Most of y'all. But y'all just want something to motherfucking say.
Okay. First off, we all know she not black anyway. And that was that big thing. Oh, stop asking a black woman. Stop asking a black woman to do. And y'all have all of this hate against the black woman. And that's what they're going to be saying now. That's their talking point now. That's what they're trying to go around talking about now. Oh, it's the fact that nobody likes a black woman. Now, she ain't even black. But I want you to see how we was talking to black people. Y'all just want something to Eminem to say. Y'all want all this cursing and profanity and saying that we pretty much talking for no reason and we complaining for no reason. All of this stuff he was saying about us. Now, when it came to the Hispanic community, is all this, oh, I'm calm and I'm cool and I just want to ask a question and I'm just notice the energy.
Hey, just real quick. But this, because I don't want to be viewing y'all the wrong way. So,
oh yeah, I don't want to be viewing y'all the wrong way. He's already apologizing. I don't want to be viewing y'all the wrong way. I just want some understanding. All of this stuff. He wasn't doing that when it came to black people. When it came to black people, he was telling us to shut up, okay, and stop asking for demands. Now, when it came to them voting for a white man, he says, "I'm just a little curious. Like, what's going on? I thought we was friends."
Y'all the wrong way. So I'm trying to figure out, do y'all feel like y'all align more with black folk, or do y'all feel like y'all align more with Caucasian? Like, and the reason I say that is because when I used to hear black and brown people, and I always thought we was like jointed to the hip. Like, I always thought we was the black folk, you know, Latino, brown, you know. So I always thought we kind of shared some of the same struggles, same hardships, same, just, you know, we were similar. You know, I remember growing up, all my Latino buddies, they was on what I was on. But now that I look at it, it ain't as clear to me no more. And I'm trying to ask y'all, do y'all feel, Latino brothers and sisters, do y'all feel y'all are more in line with black folk? Or do y'all feel like y'all are now more aligned with Caucasians?
Did you hear him curse one time in the video he did to Hispanics? One single time. Have you heard a curse word come out of his mouth at all? I had to completely edit the other clip and make a clean version because he was cursing so much. I had to go through every single curse word because he was cursing left and right. Every other sentence, it's a mother effing this and mother effing this and mother effing this and effing this and effing this and effing this. When he's talking to Hispanics, he already has the clean version. I don't got to do anything. I don't got to sanitize anything. He's not cursing at them. He's not raising his voice. He's not telling them to shut up. He's not telling them who they should even be in line with. He's not demanding that Hispanics get in line with black people and ally themselves with black people. He's not demanding that. He's just asking out of curiosity. And he's saying, hey, man, I just don't want to be wrong. I'm cool either way. You know, I just don't want to, I just want to understand. These are the Democrat shields. All of the Democrat shields who will get up here and they will curse at black people, yell at black people, condescend towards black people. They will be very mean and nasty towards black people, call us stupid, call us lazy, put everybody else above us. Now, when the Hispanics piss them off, is, well, you know, can we have a conversation? I just don't want to, you know, rub you the wrong way. If you have the time, I just have a couple questions, you know, because my feelings are a little hurt and I'm not going to lie about it. And I just thought that we was all, you know, friends, and you just kind of, you know, you went another direction. So I'm confused. I'm not mad. I'm just confused. And I just want to know some answers to, you know, to what's going on so I can move better for you forward. That's all I want to know. You know, I'm not mad at you, though. Now, when it comes to black people, it's shut up. Stop asking her for this. Stop asking her for this. Y'all need to understand. Y'all just want to complain. Y'all just want this. Y'all just want this. Y'all need to get in line. Y'all need to understand that. It's all that. It's all that. Y'all think that helps? The Democrats? The shields? Y'all think that helps? Y'all think that black people don't realize what y'all doing? Y'all don't think that black people don't get offended by that? Y'all think that black people can't contrast exactly how y'all treat Hispanics versus how y'all treat black people? Y'all think that we don't notice how y'all talk to us or about us? Y'all don't think we notice that? Y'all don't think we notice that? We do. And by you doing this and by the shields sitting up there talking to us and all that stuff, that discourages a lot of black people from voting. This is why we staying on the couch. This is exactly why we staying on the couch. Now, of course, you got some people out here pushing this whole thing. Now, you know, she lost because she was a strong and powerful black woman, and that's the only reason. Because her power of being an independent, strong voice for black women, even though she doesn't bring up black women, she doesn't care about black women clearly, but that's the reason why she lost. So we got to talk about that. All right, and I've been telling you when she would lose, that's exactly what she was going to say. I said it. I called it. I said, when Jasmine loses, it's going to be the same narrative that they put out with Kamala, that she only lost because she was a black woman. That's what they were going to say. I called it.
Black folks, the real reason why people did not want Jasmine Crockett to win, it isn't policy, y'all. It's not her experience and it's not her incompetence. It's about two things, y'all. It's race and it's gender. Because to this country, a black person winning is already too much, y'all. But y'all put a black woman winning, that's double the threat, double the hate. And y'all know what's even sadder and even sicker and even more sadistic? You've got black men online tearing Jasmine down for her wigs, weave, lashes, ghetto, being loud, throwing her under the bus, doing the goddamn work of white supremacist ideology for free. Still competing with black women, still trying to police them, still not realizing that her winning is not a loss for you. It is a win for an entire race. We throw that word around ghetto, but what exactly is ghetto? And how come it don't stick to white folks when they do the same goddamn thing? Because when black folks talk loud, dress bold, wear wigs, weave, lashes, it's called unprofessional, too hood. But when white folks turn around and cosplay and do the same thing, that same behavior, it's relatable, it's authentic, it's quirky, and it's shared and it's celebrated. Same behavior, different skin, different type of judgment. So now, this backlash isn't about standards. It's about who they think is allowed to lead. And until we stop internalizing white superiority and projecting it back on Black women, we'll keep sabotaging our own race and our own.
Okay. All right. No. All that stop. First off, let me ask the sisters in the chat room a question. I want the sisters in the chat room, just the sisters. I want to do just a little research right now. Y'all, do you guys like Jasmine? Do you guys like her behavior? And do you think that Jasmine Crockett is a good representative of Black women? I just want the women, I want the sisters in here to answer, okay? And I just want to have a good, survey of that to see. Because apparently it's Black men who are perpetuating the quote unquote white supremacist talking point that Black people need to be proper, okay? Black people need to carry themselves well. I'm saying everybody's saying no. Everybody's saying no. So it's not just Black men. Black women didn't approve of her either. Black women were all like, they saw through that. All of the first off, all of that stuff was way over the top. Okay. Especially considering the fact she's in Congress. That's extremely over the top. And you don't see anybody else, any other Black person in Congress doing that. You don't see any other Black women in Congress doing that. You've had Black women in the Senate before. They don't act like that. You've had Black people, Black women in the House of Representatives before. They don't act like that. Black governors, you've had Black mayors. They don't act like that. So the whole thing of, well, this is how Black women act. Black women don't. No, that was a character. I said it before. That was a character. She didn't grow up in the hood and that's just how she really is. No, that was a character. And because that's not genuinely her character, that's not genuinely how she acts, all right? It is taken as cosplay and disrespectful, okay? Because it's almost like you're perpetuating yourself like a minstrel show, which is what it came off to a lot of Black people as. Her behavior came off that way. All right. That's what bothered people. But the thing is that it would have bothered people less if she was doing that and still advocating for Black people. I would have told her to chill out. I'm like, Jasmine, all the neck jerking, that's a little much, sister. That's a little much. Okay. The weaves, we really got to get you straight. We really got to get you straight. Now, you said Black men are on her weaves and all that stuff. Come on now. She had to have heard about the weave thing, and she kept doing it. We trying to help. We was just trying to help. We was just like, hey, come on. We see the lace. The lace is very clear. I don't know if you might just need some braids. I don't know why you keep doing this. I don't know. You might need to go to a different shop. Get somebody to glue that down better. I don't know what's going on because we see the lace. We see it. It's very obvious. We were just trying to help. We telling her. But we do. Come on now. We do. It looked like she pulled the weave out the dryer and then threw it on. Come on now. We know. We see it. But the issue we had was not her weave, was not her lashes, was not her nails, was not that. Not even her attitude. The issue we had is the fact that you're doing all of this and you're disrespecting Black people. It would be one thing if she acted that way, but she was all on board with reparations. She was all on board with an anti-Black hate crime law. She was all on board with tangibles. She was all on board when it came to specific legislation for foundational Black Americans. She was all on board when it came to police accountability and punishment and all of that. If she was all on board with that, I guarantee you we would have overlooked that. I would have overlooked it. I would have been like, I don't like it, but her policies outweigh the character that I dislike. I still would have kind of told her to calm down on that a little bit. But if she was all on board when it comes to a Black agenda, I would have overlooked that. And most of us would have overlooked that too, because we are concerned with policy. That was our concern with policy. Politically, she was a shield for the Democratic Party. She was all in line with them 100% of the way. So much so she was disrespecting us for us to get in line with them. That's why we had an issue with her. That's the reason. So no, we're not going to overlook that. And that's the same thing. And then you blame Black men when she got most of the Black vote. most black people who voted for her. Now they don't have it separated by gender just yet, but most of the black people who voted for her. And this is the thing that the Democratic Party does. Y'all don't learn lessons that well at all. Clearly, you really don't. This is the thing that the Democratic Party does. Why are you dissing black men? If you need a higher turnout of black people in general, every time an election doesn't go y'all way, y'all want to sit up there and degrade and kick black men down. Where do you think that's going to turn? How do you think that's going to turn out? Now, when an election doesn't go the Republican people's way, they don't blame white men. They don't blame white women. Okay? When it comes to the Hispanics, they don't blame Hispanic men. They don't blame Hispanic women. But when it comes to the Democrats, if an election doesn't turn out the way they want to, it's, man, black men, y'all was supposed to get in line and y'all was supposed to do this and y'all was supposed to do this. Okay. These are the things that discourage people from voting. Y'all don't learn y'all lesson that well at all. And that's fine. That's fine. That's cool. I'm not trying to get y'all to win like that. No way. Y'all don't deserve it. Y'all do not deserve it. These are the reasons why she lost, y'all. She can sit up there and talk about she can sit up there and talk about Donald Trump all she wants to. She can make all of the noise she wants to, but she lost and she deserved it. And this was a good lesson for the Democrats because the couch vote is strong. The couch vote is strong. Y'all thought we were playing. I don't know why, but y'all thought we were playing when it came to the whole thing with Kamala. Y'all really thought we were playing with that. Y'all thought we were not serious. Y'all thought y'all can do whatever y'all want to and say whatever y'all want to. And okay, y'all think because they're black and we got to align ourselves with all black politicians no matter what, y'all thought we were going to turn out? No. This is why, like I said before, the election was very winnable. It was. If she would have done right by black people. I'm not even saying that she had to be harsh on Hispanics. I'm not saying she had to be super, super tough on immigration. I'm not saying that. But if she would have made sure she looked out for black people, if she would have made sure she showed any bit of respect for black people, she would have won. She would have had a higher black turnout and she would have been able to beat James Tellerico. She would have. But she thought that she was going to sanction off some of that Hispanic vote, siphon off the Hispanic vote. She thought that she already had the black vote on lock. And that's what all Democrats do. They think they have the black vote on lock. And she thought that, okay, well, because I got the black vote on lock, all I need to do is get some Hispanic votes. So since y'all gonna vote for me anyway, I just need to pander to the Hispanics. And okay, well, we see how that worked. All that pandering to the Hispanics and they didn't turn out for you. All that pandering to the Hispanics and they didn't turn out for her. Okay. Who didn't see that coming? Apparently not Plies. Plies didn't see that coming. It completely confused him. He was thrown off by that. Let me get to the super chats. Big J, he says, it's really sad and embarrassing how uneducated she is about Black history. But yet she thinks she's so smart. And on top of that, she's advocating for illegal immigrants instead of Black people that supported her. Shaking my head. Yeah, honestly, it is. It was the Black people who turned out. Hispanics did not turn out for her. Yet she's talking to them about how they're slave catchers and all of that stuff. And okay, Hispanics didn't turn out for her. They didn't vote for her. They didn't advocate for her. And she did all of that pandering to them and was telling them, trying to educate the country on how important they are. Not how important, mind you, not how important people of color are even. She didn't even say she's trying to educate the country on how important Black and brown is. People of color is. Okay. Minorities are. She's not trying to educate the country on that. She's trying to educate the country on how beneficial Hispanics are. Particularly Hispanics are to the country. That's what she's trying to do. Okay. How did they benefit your election? That's my question. They're so beneficial to the country. How did they benefit your election? That's what I want to ask. Let's get to Ija Morris. He says, we always get the complimentary prize. We do. They get the trophies, the first place, second place, third place, and we get the participation trophy. We don't even get a trophy. We get just like this little medal. We get like we get a sticker. We get the "you win too" sticker. That they like, here's your sticker, and they get a big trophy that they got to carry out with both hands. That's what we get. Okay. Constance sends a super sticker. Thank you very much for your super sticker, my brother. I appreciate you. Okay. And then David says, exactly again. How do FBAs get 400 years of slavery and Asians get a hate crime bill before us? Make it make sense. Brother, I want to. I really do want to. The only thing that makes sense is anti-black racism. That's exactly what it is. That's the only thing I can say. That's the only thing I can say. They get that, and they got that so easy. It wasn't no years-long protest. It wasn't no bills being caught up and debated. It wasn't no big debate. It wasn't no big filibuster. Nobody had to really do too much protesting or nothing like that. Okay, where they had to negotiate for it to get past the Senate. All of it, they didn't have it. And it went through smooth. Okay. Like warm butter on a warm piece of toast, like melted butter on some warm toast. Smooth. It slid straight through Congress and got signed immediately. We don't get nothing like that. Nothing. Okay. All right. Nothing. Tobias, he says, thank you, Afro Lee, for your hard work. All is appreciated. B1 Black First to you. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you. I want to let it be known. I want you to look at this again. Black voter turnout in the primary, 20%. Now, people are going to make the argument, well, primary turnouts are generally lower than general elections and presidential elections. As true as that is, if black people really wanted to back Jasmine, if we really wanted to get her ahead, it didn't have to be even 50%. I want you to look at the data. I want you to look at that. She only lost by, it doesn't show right here. She only lost by less than 3%. She only lost by less than 3%. If it was instead of 20% who voted, if it was 30, it didn't even have to be 50 or 40. If it was 30% of black people turned out and voted for her, she would have got it because she lost a lot in that upper region right here. She lost, if you can see right up at the top, James Tellerico, he got right in her backyard. He got right up on her. She could have got earlier voter turnout. If she would have did that, she would have won. She would have won. She would have won. But hey, you wanted the Hispanic vote. And the Hispanic, I don't know why. Y'all keep trying. The Hispanics keep showing you what they are. Who they are. They keep showing you that every single election. Every time. They are not going to pick you, but okay. All right. But you know what? That's fine. That's good. That shows another lesson. Okay. The couch wins again. It wasn't even James Tellerico who won. It wasn't Jasmine Crockett. It wasn't James. It was the couch. It was the couch that won. The couch won again. Because y'all didn't deserve it. And we keep letting it be known. Now she's up there, she's sad and she's disappointed and all that stuff. She even made a video crying. Let me show you guys that. Where's that video? She made a video and she was crying. She was really upset and she was crying. Let me show you that real. This was her.
All right. 6 years ago, no one. All right. All right. All right. All right, I gotta get through this. 6 years ago, no one believed that I could become a state representative. We were outspent 5-1. Yeah. We're outspent 5-1. There were a couple of organizations, progressive organizations.
Now,
They were like,
this goes on for a whole 20 minutes, so we ain't gonna listen to that. But I want y'all to see, I mean, she's sitting up there crying about it. She crying about it. Okay. Y'all just don't learn. Y'all just don't learn. This, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, come on. Come on now. I knew it from the very beginning. I knew it because before she even announced, I'm all like, okay, you did a lot to pander to the Hispanic community, even after Kamala's election. So I'm all like, okay, this is, what are you trying to do here? And then when she ran, I said, okay, it's obvious. All right, you ain't going to win. I knew you ain't going to win because I knew you turned off way too many black voters in the first place to make up that difference. So you were pandering to the Hispanic vote, even though in your district, you have most of them are black. So I don't know why you decided to do that. What math was going on in your head? Don't know. But then the Hispanic vote that you could have won, you didn't. Surprise. 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 Really? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Future Hops, thank you very much. She says, appreciate you, brother Afro Elite. May the Most High continue to bless you and keep you. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Shout out to every single last one of y'all. Let me give y'all a round of applause, the round of applause that y'all deserve. Okay. Shout out to y'all, but I think we did a pretty good job breaking this down. Breaking down exactly why she lost. Why she lost. We breaking it down. Why she lost. We know why. Now, let this be a lesson to anybody else running. Y'all think, especially if you black, you think you're going to get the Hispanic vote? You think you're going to get the white vote? You need to rely on the black vote. And the black vote, this ain't back in the day where the black vote just going to turn out for you because you black. This ain't that. This ain't that no more. We'll turn out. Trust me. I promise you we will. We'll turn out, but we're not just turning out because you a sister and we got to support you. No, we're turning out because of your policies that will reflect positively on the community. If your policies reflect positively on the community, if you're doing things that advocate for the community, we got you. We got you. Trust me, we got you. But all of that black faces and high places stuff, that's back in the day. That's way back in the day. You ain't getting black people like that. You ain't getting enough. You will get some, but you're not getting enough. You lost the same way Kamala Harris lost. You should have learned from her, but you didn't. Oh, well, as far as your fate, I don't know. You better try your damnedest to keep that seat in the House. You better try your damnedest to keep that seat in the House, but I don't know. I don't even know if you can do that. We'll see. But the Senate is not in your future. And then from Senate to Vice President to President, that's definitely not your future. That's never going to happen. No, that's never going to happen. So you just wrap that up. Okay. Should learn. Okay. Oh, well, though. But before y'all leave, family, before y'all leave, if y'all could do me a solid and hit that like button, a solid and hit that subscribe button, a solid and hit that notification button, I would greatly appreciate that. I would tremendously appreciate that. And that would do really good for the channel. I would do great for the channel. Okay, so we're doing really good. We're doing really, really good this month. And we just started. We're not even a whole week in. So we're doing good. So thank you guys for that. Please make sure that if you guys are new and you guys support what we do here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you guys have been subscribed, just double check. Just double check. And double check that notification bell. How about that too? Just double check that. Double check the like, but double check everything. Just double check everything. All right. We got one final super chat left. Shout out to Marcus. Marcus says, this sends a message to Julian Stratton. Juliana Stratton. Yeah, it does. It sends a message. It sends a very powerful message. Kamala sent it. Y'all thought that was a one-off. Y'all thought that she, quote unquote, didn't have the time. This lets you know that the whole, oh, she didn't have the time thing. No, it's not that. We've known about Jasmine Crockett for years. We just found out about James Tellerico. It was a lot of people didn't know who James Tellerico was last year. No, but who knew who James Tellerico was this time last year? People knew who Jasmine Crockett was this time last year. People knew who Jasmine Crockett was this time the year before in 2024. People have been knowing who Jasmine Crockett is. Jasmine Crockett has been on the Breakfast Club. Jasmine Crockett has went viral. Jasmine Crockett has gone on TikTok, all that stuff. People just finding out about James Tellerico, and he beat her. So all of this fame and stuff like that you got, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. You lost to somebody nobody really knew like that. Nobody really knew him. And you still lost. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should. But this sends a message letting you know that couch vote is here to stay. It's here to stay. Y'all don't want to learn. It's okay. Y'all just going to have to get up out them seats. And I want to say in conclusion, this concludes tonight's live stream. I thank you guys for listening. I thank all of you guys for subscribing, all of the live listeners, all of the playback listeners, the people who will listen or record it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I will send this message to you guys, Black First to you guys. Thank you guys. That's what we need going forward, as always. I will see you guys soon. See you guys. Make sure y'all subscribe. Y'all stay blessed.